Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another commentary of Conversations of a Sister here on my YouTube channel. I thank you for tuning in tonight on this chilly Wednesday if you live on the East Coast. Tonight's conversation is about sadness during the holiday season. And it's simply because not only is it about a lot of the emails that I received this week of people, individuals speaking of different situations and having conversations with friends and family and neighbors and associates and people that I'm close to. And, they just talking about, you know, things that are nostalgic, things that remind them of Christmases past. And although the holiday season is upon us, it unfortunately it takes a toll on each of us differently because everyone is mourning or sad about something different. And sadness during the holidays, it doesn't erase the meaning of the season, it just deepens it. It's something about this time of year that have individuals thinking about the past and what happened in the past. It's a reflection, a remembrance, and we remember how things were in the past, Christmases of the past. I was talking to this friend of mine, and I said to him, if I had to do one Christmas over again, I think it would be the Christmas of, I think it was my junior year in high school when we had this really bad snowstorm. And one of my girlfriends and I, we traveled to Newark, New Jersey to shop. And we shopped, like we started early in the morning and we went way into the evening. And by nighttime, we were in the middle of a blizzard, of a snowstorm. And at that time, the particular bus that we were on stopped at the corner of my street and took her to the corner of hers. And my girlfriend lived in Patterson, New Jersey. So it just reminded me of a particular Christmas that I wouldn't mind doing over again. And as I read the emails of my listeners and my followers reminiscing on Christmases past and how they feel about it, it makes you think and it makes you know. And it also helps me to understand that none of us are alone in how we feel or this situation. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 80 years old to 100 years old. If you are alive and well and in your right mind, you are missing someone this holiday season. So I decided on tonight's commentary of being about sadness during this holiday season and how it doesn't erase the meaning of the season, but it just deepens it. And some people go into a depression wherein they wish that they could just sleep their way, through the holiday. Just sleep Christmas and not wake up until January 2nd. They just want to sleep through the entire experience. That's what this young man said to me via email this week. He said, every year that the holiday comes, I wish that I could just sleep through the season. And he said that he deliberately takes the week off from before Christmas. So his day off will start on Monday, which I think is the 22nd. And he's off until January 5th, which is the Monday after the new year. And he said he just wants to sleep. He said in the email that a lot of times during the holiday, because he doesn't have family, he said that he sometimes travel, to other countries, other states, just to get away from all of this holiday cheer and holiday reminder and the coldness and, sometimes the snow of what, Christmas means to some of us. He tries to get away from that. And he said he realized that on his travels to other states, other countries, other places, it was basically the same thing there. But I guess that depends on where he went. But he said it was like the same thing there. So he said it's a sadness that he likes to avoid. But this year, something is telling him to face it because in order to deal with anything, you can't run from it. You have to face it. And regardless to what any of us are experiencing and what any of us may be dealing with, we have to allow ourselves to feel it. You have to feel the sadness. You have to go through the grief. You have to think through the memory and the memories to deal with it. And I think the good thing about it is that at least we have the memory. And yes, they do seem like yesterday. And yes, it does feel like, we all lived it yesterday. And sometimes I feel like I'm even living in the twilight zone because you cannot believe that you are in this time or at this season in your life. This one young lady said to me that when she was little, she had the best Christmases. Christmases was great. But if anyone would have told her that she'd be spending Christmas without her parents, she just wouldn't believe it. That is why it is important to appreciate the people that you have in your life. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in thinking about what we used to have and what it used to be that we don't live in the present. And the good thing about a memory is that it will visit you at any time. It can visit you at any time. The good thing about what we think and what we remember is something that we will always think and we can always remember. But I think it is also important to snap out of the past and come into the present because you have to remember that this time next year is going to be a past as well. Well, this time this year, next time next year, this time this year will be the past. So it is very important that we deal with how we feel and live in the present and be gentle with ourselves. And we have to be just as valid as our celebrations. So, what do I mean by that? I think the holiday season is often painted as a time of joy and a time of connection and celebration. But many people, they also not only feel sadness, but they feel lonely. Some people get stressed out because they're dealing with a mix of emotions. Um, it's just nostalgic when you start thinking about Christmases past and remembering Christmases Christmases of the past, and the emotions can become mixed as well as common. And when it's like that, it doesn't mean that you're doing the holidays wrong. It just means that you're starting to remember. I was talking to this friend of mine the other day, and she said that she hates this time of year. And I think that she hates this time of year because she's forced to remember. You're forced to remember the Christmases of the past, be it good or bad. So when you're forced to remember the Christmases of the past, and when people want to make things different, they do things differently. So what I've gotten into the habit of is asking individuals, you know, What are you doing this holiday season? And the answers that I've gotten, oh my God, they are hilarious. But I listen. They are different, but I also allow people to be themselves because you have to be valid, you know, in what we're doing. And this one male friend of mine was like, well, although I want to sleep, he said from Christmas to New Year's, he said, I don't think that I will. Because I had a conversation with him and I said, you need to be in the present. You need to feel whatever it is that you need to feel because you can't pretend that you don't feel a particular way because you don't want to deal with it. I mean, the joys and the pains, they're connected because it's always about the appearance of it. So, how do you want it? How do you want it to appear? And I think that we get so bogged down in the memory and the memories of what used to be that we don't celebrate what it is now. And I think that in my conversation with him, he said to me, so do I, how do I stay in the now? You stay in the now by creating new traditions, by creating new memories, by doing something different. And when you do something different, that something different will ease you into the present because you're doing something different. It's like a reminder that you're still alive and at the same time you're honoring traditions by doing something different. You know, I think that's important because sadness can show up at any time. You can be sad at any time. You could be having a great day and then bam, something comes up in a memory that's going to remind you of something. My oldest brother passed away. I think it was 5 years ago, might have 6 years ago. And he loved cranberry sauce. And I think I was watching a show. I don't know what show it was, but it was one of the talk shows. And this woman was talking about how she makes her cranberry sauce homemade and what cranberry sauce meant to her and her family. Now, mind you, when I was watching the show, you know, it was a normal day. But then when she mentioned the cranberry sauce, I immediately went into this depression because my oldest brother, who passed away, he loved cranberry sauce and he loved it with turkey. And it's like whenever cranberry sauce is mentioned, it kind of puts me in a depression. It puts me into a sad state because he loved cranberry sauce. And to this day, no, I won't eat cranberry sauce. That was his thing. I'll drink cranberry juice, but I won't eat cranberry sauce. But it's a reminder of what he'd like. That's like with my dad on Christmas Eve, I would make, a variety of fishes. I would fry fishes. And my father would be the only one sitting in the kitchen with me, ready to taste every piece of fish that came out the frying pan because he liked it hot. And he was also my biggest critic. He would say, oh, that needs a little bit of salt. That needs a little bit of pepper. Oh my God, this is so good. You got it perfect. So I always had him there with me on Christmas Eve when everybody else was off doing their own thing. He always stayed with me in the kitchen and was the first to taste everything. And by the time everybody else came out and we all gathered to eat, my father was done. Why? Because he had tasted everything that I would make on Christmas Eve. So these are things that I remember. These are memories that I remember, and I carry them over now. Although my Christmas Eve gatherings are small, I still carry them over now because I think that memories and loss can highlight the absence of loved ones, but it's also a reminder to us of past traditions that have now changed. So, because they have now changed, how will we embrace them? We shouldn't avoid them, we should embrace them. And how do we embrace them? We do something different. You step out of your comfort zone and you do something different to honor the memory and the traditions. I was talking to another friend of mine this week, and she wanted to know what I was doing, and I was telling her, about all my plans. And she said to me, she got real quiet, and she said, Christmas is just not the same anymore since my mom passed away. She said, and my mom has been gone for a long time. And she started reminiscing about how she used to go to her mother's house with her sons, and they would open their gifts, and her mom would be cooking dinner, and she would help her mother cook dinner. And now, her sons are grown, and she basically spends Christmas Eve alone. And she says she's fine with that. So she cooks on her own and she spends Christmas Eve alone. She said, but I'm fine with that because this now is my tradition. And I think that a tradition can look however you want it to look. It's all about what you make it. I remember one year when I was working for this company, and this woman, my boss, her mom passed away. Her mom passed away right before Christmas, and she was Italian. And Christmas Eve was a big deal at her mother's house. They used to do all this cooking, preparing all of this food. And she talked about all of the baking they did and how her mom made zeppelis. And it was just a big deal. And her first Christmas without her mother, her and her family, they couldn't stand to be at home. So they all copped the flight, or at least they tried, to the Caribbean. And I think she said they had a connection. And she said to me, and our flight was delayed. She said, and we wound up spending Christmas, she said, in the airport. She said, it wasn't exactly what I had envisioned, but this is what happened on our way to our destination. And I said to her, I think that your mother interfered in your plans. She didn't want you to spend Christmas somewhere else. She wanted you to honor her memory by doing these same things that you did when she was here. So I think that she put a monkey wrench into your plans. And she looked at me and she said, I never thought of it like that. She was like, wow, that is really, she said, something to think about. And I reached out to her recently on LinkedIn. And before she ended, her messaging with me, she said to me, and by the way, she said, we're celebrating Christmas at my house. She said, I have gathered the courage, she said, to carry on that particular tradition. So I think that we honor individuals and we honor the memories of those that we lost, and we honor the traditions when we create new ones. And I think we have to be comfortable with them. When we redefine traditions, I think we have to be comfortable with them. And they can start off small, but they can also be authentic. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My brother that passed away 6 years ago, he passed away a week before I was going to do a housewarming party. And I was going to do a housewarming party. And I never did a housewarming party. No one, outside of my immediate family has ever really been to my home. I've had some friends here, yeah, a couple of girlfriends here and there, but no one really outside of my immediate family. So this Saturday coming up, I am hosting a dinner party. Now, mind you, this is my second dinner party this year, but I'm shocked that I'm even doing a dinner party again. But I put myself out there because I said, I'm going to do a dinner party. And I'm going to do it the Saturday before Christmas because I want to have these people over to my house. So I just shocked myself because I'm actually in the mood to do it. So I think that when we think about our loved ones this holiday season and we think about the sadness, I think that we honor them when we step out of that feeling and we do something different. We do something bold. We do something daring. And you will be surprised at how it makes you feel. But you're not going to know it unless you honor them. When you think about it, our loved ones that are gone, we're all thinking about them, this holiday season, our mothers, our fathers that are gone, our sisters, our brothers, our aunts, our grandmothers. You think about them all. You think about all of your ancestors, you think about it. So, can you imagine the things and the creativity that you can come up with just honoring those traditions? I think that they're special. And sometimes they are humps that we have to get over. But we can start a little bit at a time by doing so. I know for some of you, you're like, oh no, I'm just going to travel. I just want to get away. I just want to do something different. And that's fine because you don't know what you'll do next year or the year after that or the year after that. But all I'm saying is, I've learned that in honoring a loved one's memory is to do something in their honor, to do something that they may like, or to do something that's going to remind you of a loved one that is no longer here. I think that's important. And I think that when we know better, we we do better. And I think that as you grow, you learn. And I I sit down and I think about how our loved ones are gone and they are not coming back. We can cry, we can miss them, we will have our moments, but they're not coming back. So, what would you do to honor the memory? Because I think that when you honor the memory, they become a part of it in a very small way. I remember the year my father passed away. My father passed away 5 days after Christmas. And that first year, which was 2015, I dreaded Father's Day. And I started thinking about, my father, his memory, things he liked. And I started doing things in his memory. And I'll never forget that first Father's Day. My father loves ice cream. So that first Father's Day, I contacted this lady at my church at the time who ran a Sunday school. And I said to her, how many kids do you have in your Sunday school? And she told me and she asked me why. And I said, this Sunday, Father's Day, I'm giving out free ice cream to all of the children. I said, in the Sunday school, in memory of my father. Oh my God, they went crazy. The teachers went crazy. The kids went crazy. Everybody went crazy. But let me tell you what happened. She asked me my father's name. I told her my father's name. They did an assembly with all of the kids there. They were like, Miss Tracy Bell is going to give out, guess what? Free ice cream. They all went crazy. Yay, yay, yay. And she was like, wait, wait. But it's in honor of her father, in memory of her father, Mr. Floyd Bell. And the kids went crazy. And as the kids came up to me and I was handing them the ice cream, and I saw the smile on their faces, and they started saying, thank you, Miss Tracy. And they said, God bless Mr. Bell. And they would say, "Thank you, Miss Tracy, in memory of Mr. Bell." Do you know how that made me feel? These kids had never met my father before in my life. But because I did something in his memory that they all could relate to, because what kid don't like ice cream? My father loved ice cream. Oh my God. He loved ice cream. You could take a pill and squash it up in his ice cream, and he would eat the ice cream and not even realize that he took the pill because he loved ice cream. And to see the smiles and the joy and the excitement on those children's faces, I knew that I had honored my father, because he would have that same joy and that same excitement every time he ate ice cream, because he loved ice cream. You mentioned ice cream, he froze. Daddy, I baked the cake. Did you get ice cream? Oh my God, he'd go crazy. Daddy, mommy made peach cobbler. Did you get ice cream? Oh my God, his face would light up. He was an ice cream fanatic. Vanilla ice cream, butter pecan ice cream, chocolate ice cream. My father loved ice cream. His favorite was vanilla. And when I gave those kids that ice cream and my father's memory, I felt like my father's memory came alive. So this holiday season, when we are sad, when we are depressed, and when we are thinking about our loved ones, I dare you to do something in their memory. I dare you to do something in their honor. And I can guarantee you, it is going to give you a new found thought with regards to how you approach the holidays going forward, because you will not feel as depressed or as sad as the enemy would want you to be, because that's what they want. At the end of the day, you're still in the land of the living, and you have to live. Our ancestors are gone, our loved ones are gone, and they're with our ancestors, but they left us something very valuable. They left us the creativity to create and to come up with new traditions. And that is what I challenge you all to do this holiday season. Do something different. Do something in their memory. Do something in their honor, but do something. Do something that is going to fulfill you. Do something that's going to honor their memory. Do something that's going to satisfy you, but do something. Do something instead of nothing, because in effort is what is going to make you feel better. Try the effort. Try something different. Try the something new in memory of a loved one. And that will ease the burden of the sadness, because it's all about redefining traditions and connecting in small ways, because I think that's what's important, is connecting. You have to connect with individuals. And if you don't want to connect and you decide to stay home, or you decide to be alone, or you decide to do whatever, just try and connect with the people that you love. And you can do that now, and that will set the tone for the rest of the year. And that will set the tone with what you will do next year. Because the dinner party that I'm having on Saturday, I want to make it annual. I want to make it an annual tradition, because these are people that I would want to be around annually. And as I do it yearly, my goal, my hope, and my dream is that it's going to grow. So we all are thinking about someone this holiday season, but I challenge you to honor their tradition as you remember, because that is what is going to give you satisfaction and fulfillment. This is my last show of the year. Now, yeah, I'll be on short videos because I just have to give my 2 cents with regards to what's going on. But as far as my commentary for the year, this is it. I'm not going to see my audience again, my listeners and my followers into 2026. But yo, check this out. You can still email me. I'm still looking at emails. I have help with that, but we're still looking at emails. We're still addressing issues and situations and things that's going on. The conversations are never ending, and they are always continuing. All you have to do is like, subscribe, and share, and check back with us. And if you send us an email, trust and believe, sooner or later, I'm going to address whatever it is that you like me to conversate about, because that's what it's about. This holiday season, let your conversations be great. Make your conversations deep. Have meaningful conversations that you're going to cherish this holiday season and every holiday season to come. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Feliz Navidad. Happy New Year. And I'll see you all next year. Until then, bye. Merry Christmas.